Everyone, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about the brain's tendency to project our perceptions. The truth is, a lot of people go through this to some degree or another. This is sort of the core of what's going on in like a narcissist's brain on a regular basis in their mind, is they're constantly projecting, right? But it's the perceptions that's going on inside of their brain. But the people who have CPTSD are doing this at the same time. In fact, a lot of people do it. It's just for people with CPTSD, it's much more extreme. So what's basically happening is, because we have faulty wiring in our brain, and this is specifically related to CPTSD people, we have perceptions of things around us, right, that are faulty, that aren't necessarily true. I'm not saying they're 100% untrue all the time, but we have these perceptions and we just believe that they're true or believe that they're real, and then we react on them. And that's how, that's how a lot of us, some of us react and externalize and start fighting with other people. This is what narcissists do. A lot of us react to the perceptions and internalize and start, our anxiety goes up. We start having, experiences of shame. And so one of the key, and this is really like kind of like the vicious inner critic category, right? Projecting our perceptions. One of the keys for healing from CPTSD is to first get a hold of your mind and be able to differentiate between what's really going on and our perceptions of what's really going on, right? And one main, misperception we have a lot is that whatever's going on around us, it must have something to do with us. Now, sometimes it does have something to do with us, but a lot of times it doesn't, right? Like if we see someone they don't have the right kind of facial expressions, we think, oh, maybe they're upset at me, it might have something to do with me. Or people are laughing over in the distance, you're like, oh my God, are they laughing about me? And so we have faulty perceptions going on in our brain. We project them outside of ourselves, and then we react to them by either externalizing them and sort of starting an argument with somebody, or just internalizing them and, kind of sinking into a melange of shame and guilt and self-contempt, right? So one of the keys is to be able to, notice when you're having those misperceptions, and you'll notice them by the way that you feel inside, or that, that paranoid feeling like, oh, are they doing that because of me? Are they doing that because of me? That's actually kind of a narcissistic point of mindset, because you think, and that's where the narcissists are coming from on a regular basis. They perceive everything as having something to do with them or about them, or something happens or doesn't happen, and it's some kind of ill reflection on them. But, there's just different ways of dealing with it, right? Those of us, this is the key, by the way. Apparently narcissists can't do this, but, people with CPTSD and codependency have the ability to go within and sort of change their perceptions about what's really going on. So you need to just get used to, getting grounded in whatever your thoughts are going on in your mind and however you're feeling. Get grounded in truth, fact, and history, and just go through them. If you're paranoid about something or you're really worried about something, just calm yourself down and go through logical explanations in your head. For example, if someone walks past you and they don't have the right look on their face or something, maybe you might be thinking, oh man, maybe they're mad at me, right? Well, maybe they're upset. Maybe it has nothing to do with you. Maybe there's something going on in their life that's causing them to have a bad day. Maybe they're internalizing something. Maybe there's nothing wrong at all. Maybe they're just, their facial expressions are such that you just believe that they're upset, and then they're probably upset at you for something. So all that stuff is just faulty wiring, Countering that is by going through what we just said, where it's they go through the possibilities of what might be making them upset, right? Something in their own life, something in their own mind, or maybe there's nothing at all. If there's something wrong, really, someone will come tell you, right? If it's your boss or somebody else, they'll come tell you. And if they don't tell you, there's nothing you can do anyway. That's their issue, right? But we don't need to be constantly worrying about what other people are thinking, or if they're reacting to something that we did. We need to start kind of soothing and loving ourselves and having more rational, grounded thought processes, instead of having perceptions, reacting on them, and then projecting them outwards or inwards. We don't need to project at all. We need to find out what's true and what's actually happening. So learning how to do that in your mind is key to overcoming CPTSD, and especially dealing with the inner critic, because the inner critic's going to tell you all kinds of little lies and oh, you're so stupid, you're so ugly, or this or that, or they don't like you. None of that, it's all faulty. It's all misperceptions, right? But, this is where insecurities come from. It's the vicious inner critic that makes people insecure. So we've just basically got to stop it, recognize when it's happening that we might be projecting. Just ask yourself, catch yourself and ask yourself, am I projecting right now? Is this person's facial expressions or behavior, does it have something to do with me, or could it have something to do with them? You could ask them if you want, but if there's really an issue with you, usually people are going to come tell you, right? So, getting a hold of your perceptions, and I like to not go on perceptions at all and just go based on what's actually happening, right? That's what helped me. And then projecting it, just, turn all that around and start looking at the facts of what's actually happening. Having more rational thought processes about things that are happening. Again, someone with an upset face probably isn't upset with you at all, probably has nothing to do with you, right? And just, then practice self-soothing and loving yourself, because when you start loving yourself and self-soothing, that's really going to cut down. You're not only going to feel better, but it'll cut down on all that sort of gnawing, vicious inner critic dialogue going on in your own head that things aren't okay, or that you're going to get, we're constantly afraid of being rejected and abandoned, right? So if we don't reject and abandon ourselves and practice self-love, all that's going to kind of melt away anyway, to the point where even if someone is laughing at you or something, it's not going to matter as much because you're not rejecting or abandoning yourself, right? And so you're not going to experience those extreme emotional flashbacks. So projecting our perceptions, start to get a hold of that going on in your mind, reversing it, calming yourself, loving yourself. That's about it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.